Hello all, just a quick update video on how price action is unfolding and how I'm playing what I think could happen here. Listen carefully because we're about to discuss those topics you've all been waiting for. I can't quite yet confirm we're about to get in that zone, but it very well could. So Bitcoin deviated back into the 60 to 70k range after getting as low as 53. I made an extremely important video about 2 weeks ago on why I thought the idea of a top this year is still more than possible. Many capitulated on the idea of a left-translated cycle due to this price action. I was not one of them and have stayed concrete on it since the break of all-time highs. It'll be obvious in hindsight, but that to me invalidated a lot of those traditional market structures we're so used to seeing and especially referencing. I got quite worried back then because the possibility of an early top in April to May was legitimately on the table. That, however, would have been a worst-case scenario because it wouldn't have allowed enough time for liquidity to properly pour into altcoins where the cycle as a whole would have been pathetic. Thankfully, though, we got this range of 140 days and counting. It got so bad during this accumulation that we saw time-based capitulation at all-time highs. But like I've been saying over and over again, at the end of it all we'll be grateful that this occurred. First off, it's allowed all macro indicators to reset before a final wave up, allowing for a top that in my opinion will be substantially greater than what we would have got earlier on. And most importantly, altcoins have also been able to form their bottoms before their next leg up. All in all, what transpired over these past months has me extremely bullish on what's to come. I'm especially optimistic on altcoins as I feel like they're on the precipice of massive blow-off tops. I can't emphasize how perfect this setup has turned out to be, so don't mess this up. I've not changed my tone once throughout this entire bull market. Many of you can attest to this. If we do enter the euphoria stage soon, I'll provide updates accordingly. That said, Bitcoin is not exactly in the clear yet. If it wanted to turn down, now would be that time. But if this truly is the breakout, I don't think this resistance between 70 and 73k holds. In fact, it probably gets sliced through very easily. In terms of your altcoin positions, they'll move up in tandem with Bitcoin. Dominance will go up in that scenario, but once the top settles in altcoins will go insane for maybe at most a month afterwards, but probably more in the region of 2 weeks. And speaking of which, in terms of microcaps, let me make one thing clear. When I say microcap, I'm referring to projects that are sub 100 million in market cap. The whole point of microcaps is either to ride them to zero or outgain the rest of the market in a substantial manner. We won't find out the answer to such until after this cycle because microcaps are what run absolutely last. So if you want to play the microcap game, your job is to predict the best of which most suited to receive that liquidity. I say this because I see a lot of you mention microcaps from time to time, asking me if they're dead or still poised for big gains. So to make it clear, this is how they work. All these microcaps are nothing but Ponzi's that stay dead until the end of the bull, where they will then either stay that way, or conversely explode 20, 50, 100x. This may seem daunting, but it's really not. As this microcap arc, I suppose you can call it, at the end of bulls is probably the best chance for someone with a small portfolio of, let's say, under 10,000 to be turned into valuations of 3, 4, 500,000, possibly even $1 million. Much better odds than something like picking random meme coins. In fact, I'd even go as far as to say that now is the time to enter microcaps. We're about to enter the final phase of the bull market. The only variable is timing, but it should be consensus. The parabolic part is almost here. Big and mid caps have started to run, and yet microcaps are barely off lows. Now is the perfect time to enter that realm, especially if you're again someone with not that much size. I'll make a specific microcap video soon, so make sure you're subscribed for that. Also, a lot of you have been asking for a Discord or Telegram to get in contact with me. I don't want to commit to those quite yet, but instead, if you have questions, you can ask me on Instagram. I'll leave the link in description, and I'll try getting back to you. Also, I want to address this tweet I put out the other day, stating 5 of 5 is loading. I'm referring to the fifth and final wave of this bull market. So yes, I think there's one more wave to go. Yes, I think it'll be the highest price appreciating wave. And yes, I think a huge crash will follow it. Remember, price action works in waves of 5. Thus far we've had the 1 and the 2 and the 3. This low we just made will likely be the 4. In fact, this as a 4 is a lot cleaner and in line for preceding a 5 than here. And so if this is the 4 with many indicators confirming such, the 5 of the 5 is coming. Now combine the idea of the 5th and final wave along with where we are on the x-axis. How can the 5th wave, the most quickest and most parabolic wave, extend out to November of next year? If the top is, let's say, base case around 120k, can you see a scenario where price action grinds up and to the right? Large cap stocks and indexes can do that, but Bitcoin with its relatively small market cap cannot. In order for that to happen, Bitcoin would have to invalidate this as the 4, take months to grind lower, then go for the 5 there. The thing is though, that can happen, but first you need to invalidate that 5th taking place right now. Which certainly wasn't the case when I put my neck on the line at lows when everyone was bearish, where I was saying we can still top this year. And now with this reclaim, that drawn out price action lower has become a lot more difficult to implore. This isn't a debate, there's no such thing as being right or wrong in this scenario. If we invalidate the 3rd and final angle now, that's fine. Our goal is to sell tops regardless of when it comes. All I'm saying is there's zero reason right now to think the 5th won't take place soon. All we really have is history. And you'll hear everyone reference how every cycle is the same, but realistically, is that even true? There's been 2 full-fledged cycles so far. The 2 may have topped around the same time from their bottoms, but the double top of the 2021 cycle is much different than the blow-off top of 17. Plus there's many who think this second top was artificially created with FTX manipulation. Point being, history isn't really our friend here because there's barely any, so don't hedge your entire thesis based on that. I also think with stocks, the S&P and Nasdaq making new highs each and every day, once they start fluttering at the top, crypto could be on the cusp to make a hard run. Everyone keeps talking about how the 2 aren't running in tandem, how stocks are leaving crypto behind. But as I discussed not too long ago, we typically see that for periods during the trending phase of bull runs. The combination of stocks topping for a while, or whether that even be a potential macro top, plus Bitcoin perhaps being in that 5th, can bring a lot more eyes to Bitcoin and crypto than we would have typically had. The next time I'll provide an update video is once we slice through all-time highs and keep trending upward. In other words, the confirmation the 5th is taking place. Or if we break these lows and do in fact enter that prolonged sideways period in the 40s or something. But until then, for the entire bull market and particularly March of this year, we've stuck to the idea of having a cycle top sooner than we usually get. And to this day that plan has not moved an inch. I've urged altcoin exposure the whole way through for what will be absolute altcoin mania. And I'd even go as far as to say it's still not that late, especially with where things can get. Like and subscribe, as you don't want to miss out on these next sequence of updates, especially if we go parabolic from here. We may have had some great calls so far and done poor with others, and in terms of the overall market movements we've been pretty bang on from the bottoms. But the importance of all that pales in comparison to the period we're about to enter, that of course being the selling part of this all. The most difficult thing that even the most experienced fail to pull off. We'll brush up on exit strategies soon, but one vital aspect is having access to multiple exchanges during that time. Hence I've also partnered with the CoinW crypto exchange, who are giving $1,000 to those who sign up with my link. The exchange is also non-KYC and non-VPN, so if you're American, Canadian, whatever, you can use it. Highly recommend making an account and trading there, as it is a great option. But while you're doing that, stay safe and I'll see you soon.